Today I'm going to be making a couple of apple pies and some tarts, and this is why I prep all of my garden and tree produce in the summer. It's because here it is, middle of January, and I can make a delicious apple pie. Now I've also got a couple of blackberries that I'm going to throw in there just for color. But let me show you how I'm going to make these. I'm actually going to make two small pies this morning. So these are some Granny Smith apples off of my tree, and they have been in my freezer, and I have all the insides of the apple pie all mixed together, so I don't really need to add anything. It's got sugar and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then I'm also going to add some blackberries that I have. Now these apples from this tree, it's kind of an interesting story. I actually did some grafting a couple of years ago, about 4 years ago, I guess. And a lot of these apples that were on my Fuji apple tree came back as a Granny Smith. So I was really excited. I don't eat a lot of Granny Smith, but I love them for making pies. So they've been kind of defrosting for about a half an hour. I'm just going to leave them out here a bit longer, and I'll show you then how I make my crust. Now, if you've ever had trouble making a pie crust, I'm going to show you a foolproof way to make it. It's going to come out perfect every time. Now this is only a one crust because I'm going to be making either two little tiny pies or maybe even some tarts. And what I'm going to do is add 1 cup of flour. You're going to take 1/3 cup of really cold butter and cut it into pieces. Now I put all of this in my food processor. This is the secret. So I'm going to put all that in there just like that. Then you're going to add a little bit of salt for flavor. And I'm going to put in 1/2 teaspoon. I use the pink Himalayan sea salt. And then I take some really cold water. I've actually got some ice water here from the freezer. And I'm going to put my lid on. This is so easy. You can't mess this up. Put my lid on, just like this. And I'm going to pulse it a couple of times. Till I get it kind of blended together, just 3 or 4 or 5 times. Then I'm going to take some of this icy cold water, and you're going to need about 3 or 4 tablespoons of this ice water. And all I'm going to do, I've got a little hole here in the middle of mine, so I just push this through. And it really, every time it's going to depend on, you know, the temperature, the humidity, all that kind of stuff. Just kind of keep an eye on it. When this starts coming together, your pie crust is done. So I'm going to try 5 tablespoons. See what that gets me. A little bit more, not much. Now I'm only going to go 1 at a time. I think 1 more and we've got it. So this one actually took about 6 tablespoons of water. And there we go. The crust has come together. When it stops moving, your crust is finished. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my mixture out. Now if you have a large food processor, this works just as good in a large one. And see how it's all stuck together like this? That's exactly what you want. And all I'm going to do is just put this in a piece of plastic. Just like this, and I'm going to pop it in the refrigerator for 15 minutes. That's all I'm going to do. Just kind of push it together just like this. And that's it. It's gonna sit in the refrigerator for 15 minutes. All right, it's been 15 minutes and I decided instead of making 2 pies, I think what I'm gonna do is just make some of these little pocket apple pies and then see if I wanna make an extra pie. I think I'm gonna have to do an actual pie just because, you know, it's just gonna be too much pie filling for the pocket pie maker. So all I'm doing is putting my dough down on some of this flour, just like this. And we're gonna roll this out. I just like to give it a couple rolls from the middle. And then my secret is I just keep turning my crust. I make sure I have plenty of flour underneath it, and I just keep turning and turning and turning, and then I'll use whatever's left over to make a couple little pie fillings, little pie things here. All I'm gonna do here is just take some of this pie dough. I'm not gonna put a whole lot of this on here. Just gonna set this aside. Now I'm gonna leave a couple of these little strips for the top of my pie. I'm just gonna set them to the side here. So these are gonna be for the top. And then these I'm going to make into some tarts. I'll just do a couple of tarts. This is just a little pocket pie maker. So I'm gonna do part of it on the top here. Alrighty, now I'm gonna take some of my pie filling, just like that. Kind of push it down in there. Give it a little squish. You also could use a little bit of egg wash if you wanted to. That's better. Now all I'm gonna do is just take a knife and go around the outside edge of this, just like this. And I am going to just put these right inside of, just put them on top of a little pan. And then I'm gonna wanna vent the inside of it so that I don't have too big of a mess. I'm probably gonna put this on some foil, to be honest with you. I don't want it all over my oven. You know how that happens sometimes with pies. Okay, so my tart is in the oven. I actually am making a couple of tarts. I'm just going along the edge here and just, you know, kind of making a little decoration with a fork. I really didn't have enough of this this dough to make a topping, so I just took my little scraps and, you know, used that to, you know, just put some little topping over it. And I like to do this sometimes when I'm not trying to use a lot of dough on my pie. All I'm gonna do now is I've got 1 egg and a little bit of milk. I'm just gonna cover this so that it has a little bit of egg wash over this dough. It'll help to brown it really nice. All right, now I'm gonna take a little bit of sugar and just sprinkle a little sugar over the top. As soon as the tarts are done, I'm gonna put this in at 425 for 15 minutes, and then I'm gonna bring down the heat to about 350, and I'm gonna cook it for like another 45 minutes. So I'll bring you back in about an hour as soon as everything's cooked and ready to go. My daughter-in-law will be here about 11, so to give it time to cool so she can take it to the lady she cares for, and I'll see you in a bit. So my pie and my little tarts came out so good, so beautiful. I just can't wait to give the pie to my daughter-in-law, and I'm gonna send the tarts off to the lady she takes care of. So let me show you how they came out. Aren't those beautiful? Look at those tarts. So I'm gonna put those in like a little throwaway container that I have, and the pie I'm just gonna let cool, and then she can take it home tonight. So this was super easy. I enjoyed making it. Don't let homemade pie crusts and homemade pies and things like that intimidate you. They're not hard. You just need to practice a little bit. If you're interested, I'm gonna put this little apple pie pocket maker on my Amazon store. If anyone's interested, they have all kinds of different things that you can make little molds out of. I just thought these were so cute for the apples. I bought mine on Amazon as well. So again, this is from my harvest. I didn't really put any of it together except for the crust. The lemons, to put the lemon in the apples. The apples were from my trees. I mean, this was just wonderful. So thanks for joining me. If you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing to my channel. Give me a like, a thumbs up, or ring the bell for future notifications, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.